I never thought a pair of crooked brass house numbers would flip my entire neighborhood upside down. But that's exactly how it started. And honestly, if you'd told me a month ago that my calm, boring life in Oakwood Estates would turn into a full-blown community mutiny, a legal showdown, and a police cruiser parked in front of my driveway, I would have laughed. But here we are. My name is Daniel, and this is the story of how my HOA president tried to sabotage my home, my sanity, and technically even my legal address, and how, without ever raising my voice, I took everything from her in return. It happened on a Thursday. Nothing special about it. I got home from work, parked, grabbed my backpack, and started walking toward the front door. First, nothing seemed off. But then, something in my peripheral vision bothered me. My house number. I stopped, stared, and my brain slowed down like I'd walked into a glitching video game. Where the sleek, modern numbers 518 should have been, there were now ugly, dull brass numbers reading 8-1-5-5. I actually blinked a few times, thinking maybe I was just tired. Nope, still wrong, still ugly, still not mine. Someone didn't just remove my address numbers, they replaced them with completely different ones. Ones that didn't belong to my house. Ones that didn't match any house on the entire street. And that's when I heard it. A loud, exaggerated throat clear behind me. The kind that says, "I want your attention, but I'm pretending I don't." I turned around slowly, and of course, it was her. Marla Whitford, mid-50s.
Permanence call.
The kind of woman who looks like she wakes up angry at sunlight. President of the Oakwood Estates HOA. Judge, jury, and executioner of lawn heights and mailbox colors. She stood on my lawn, arms crossed like she owned the place. "I see you've noticed the change," she said, voice dripping with satisfaction.
Ist here.
"You changed my house numbers?" She lifted her chin. "Your previous numbers violated aesthetic standards. Section 12, paragraph 4. I've corrected the issue."
I blinkt here.
Corrected? She had trespassed onto my property and literally vandalized my home. I took a slow breath. "There's nothing in the guidelines about number style, Marla." She flipped open her designer handbag and dramatically pulled out a laminated document. "Perhaps you should read the updated guidelines," she said sweetly. I scanned the page, dated last week, but she claimed the board voted on it last month. Even better, the new rule was clearly in a different font. She wasn't even good at lying. "This is fake," I said calmly. Her eye twitched. "Are you accusing me of trespassing?" I interrupted. "Yes. Of altering private property? Also yes." She tried to puff up again. "As HOA president, I have authority to remedy violations." "Show me," I said. "Show me exactly where the bylaws give you permission to step onto my property and change my address." She sputtered. "I don't have time to educate you." And with that, she spun around and stomped off like an offended peacock. But I wasn't done. Not even close. Marla thought I was some quiet pushover. A guy with neat flower beds and a neutral paint color. She had no idea I'm a municipal code enforcement officer for the neighboring city. Which means, I know property law, I know housing codes, I know what is and isn't legal, and I know exactly how seriously the county treats tampering with address identifiers. Legally speaking, it's equivalent to interfering with emergency services. So that night I did two things. I put my original numbers back up. I installed a tiny security camera pointed straight at my porch, and it took less than 24 hours to pay off. At 10:42 p.m., my phone buzzed. Motion alert. I opened the live feed, and there she was, Marla, crouched, with a screwdriver, trying to rip off my numbers again. I watched her struggle, tilt her head, squint, try different angles. It would have been funny if it wasn't insane. She finally gave up and scurried away into the darkness, probably thinking she was some kind of stealth ninja. I had everything I needed. By morning, I had drafted a detailed email, screenshots from the camera, relevant legal codes, highlighted sections of real HOA rules, a timeline of her actions, and a firm explanation of the safety risks. I sent it to the entire HOA board. And yes,
I cici di Marla.
because I'm polite like that. Saturday morning. I'm trimming my hedges. Peaceful day. Birds chirping. Then I hear footsteps pounding down the sidewalk like a herd of angry elephants. Marla storms up to me, face bright red, phone clutched in a shaking hand. "How dare you send that slanderous email?" she shrieked. "You made me look like a criminal." I calmly set my shears down. "You trespassed," I said. "You altered my address. I sent the fax." Neighbors began to drift outside, checking their mail, sweeping non-existent dirt, pretending to water plants that didn't need watering. She flailed her arms. "I am the HOA president. I can enforce compliance." "Not by breaking the law," I replied. And then, the moment that changed everything, a voice spoke from behind her. "That's not a small matter, Marla." We both turned. Mr. Jenkins, retired firefighter, respected, quiet, tough. He crossed his arms. "Incorrect address numbers cost lives. Minutes matter." Marla stiffened. "This doesn't concern you, Bill," she hissed. "It concerns all of us," he said firmly. Then Mrs. Rodriguez walked over. "She entered my backyard last month," she said. Another neighbor stepped forward. "She put a notice on my door for a rule that doesn't exist." Another voice. "She changed my mailbox color while I was at work." And another. "She told me my porch chairs weren't community-friendly." It was like a dam broke. Everyone had a story. Everyone had been silent until now. Marla's face drained. "This is ridiculous," she screeched. "You're all conspiring against me." But the crowd kept growing. A silver sedan turned the corner and parked. Greg Sanders, the HOA vice president, stepped out. Marla looked relieved. Finally, someone on her side. "Greg, perfect timing," she said. "Daniel is creating chaos with lies." Greg held up a hand. "Marla, I'm here because we called an emergency board meeting. We've received multiple complaints. Serious ones." She went still. Greg swallowed. "There are allegations you entered private property. Multiple homes. Without consent. And the altered address numbers violate municipal safety law," I added. Marla's face twitched. "You're all blowing this out of proportion." That's when I decided to drop the final card. I filed a police report. The crowd gasped. And as if perfectly scripted, a police cruiser slowly turned onto our street. The timing could not have been more cinematic. The officer stepped out and approached calmly. "Is there a Marla Whitford here?" Marla raised her hand like it weighed 50 pounds. The officer continued, "Ma'am, we need to discuss a complaint regarding property tampering, unauthorized entry, and interference with emergency identification markers." She tried to speak, but the words came out as a croak. I was just enforcing standards." "The HOA has no authority to alter address numbers," he said. "That's municipal jurisdiction." Neighbors watched silently as the officer explained. Possible misdemeanor. Fines. Liability. Formal questioning. By the time he gently guided her toward the cruiser, the mighty, terrifying HOA president looked like a collapsing sandcastle. No arrogance. No authority. No power. Just a woman who finally realized her imaginary kingdom had boundaries. Marla wasn't arrested, but she was taken in for questioning. The board held an emergency vote the next day. She was removed as HOA president. They rewrote several bylaws, added limits to board authority, required written notice for all violations. And for the first time in years, the neighborhood felt peaceful. People smiled again, talked again, laughed again. Her reign of terror was finally over. I didn't set out looking for revenge. All I wanted was for someone to respect my home. But sometimes standing up for yourself does more than protect your property. It sets a standard. Tells people, you don't get to bully everyone because you have a title. Marla didn't fall because of me. She fell because she forgot that authority has limits, and neighbors have voices, and sometimes all it takes is one person speaking up to remind others they can too. That's how we got our neighborhood back. And honestly, those three little numbers, 518, never looked better.